Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the NXT After Show right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. As you can see, we've got a little bit of a new look. We're debuting a new segment today, and we've got a great show to talk about, so stay with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It's time to discuss the greatest man that ever lived, the new NXT champion, and the seemingly evolving tag team division in NXT. I am one of your hosts, and it's Mark Donica. You can follow me on Twitter at Mark Donica. Bill Handstock is on assignment, but joining me as always, the one, the only, True Hobo.
And did you hear? I am number 446 in PWI's 500.
I told you.
That's neither here nor there. You're in another country.
And I still found out before you did.
It was a different time. You're in European time.
I was in the future.
That's
true.
Future.
I was in the future. So welcome to the show, everybody. Today, as I mentioned, Bill Handstock is on assignment. We've got quite the show to talk about. A lot of new talent popping up, talent from the CWC as well. And we're going to be debuting a new segment at the end of the show. So why don't you stay tuned for that. Let's get started talking about the first match of the evening. TM61 versus Tony Nese and Ariya Daivari from the CWC. What did you think about this match?
I thought TM61 looked awful strong. They came out doing exactly what they do. It's a great dynamic of Shane Thorne doing the high flying and Nick Miller being just a heavy hitter, just ground and pound. That's what he does. Tony Nese showing off that he's both power and precision.
Finesse.
Right,
Yeah.
and then Ariya Daivari showing something, not much, unfortunately.
That was my least favorite part of the match because he, in his match, in the opening round of the CWC, was one of my favorites. I loved his performance. So the fact that his stuff was relegated to the commercial break, or Tony really had the only chance to shine and,
I mean, he
show
sort
off.
of came in and picked up the pieces. Once Tony got him down, Ariya Daivari came in and just sort of tried to grind him down even further, but
Yeah.
it just never seemed to work. He looked like the guy who couldn't keep his hands on the situation and keep things in control, whereas Tony Nese was like, I got this thing all screwed together, all you have to do is turn the key, and he just couldn't even do that.
Yeah, after suffering the losses that they did in the CWC, Nese and Daivari were trying to show that they meant business against arguably the hottest tag team in NXT right now.
Not the hottest. They did.
You don't think TM61 is?
They accrued a loss.
You've been in Australia.
I
You
know.
know how warm it is
They're
down there.
really good, but if you look at the breakdown, they have suffered a loss.
Sure.
They are not as strong as, say, the individuals they lost to, but they're still there. They're still putting in great work and good victories where they can get them. But the Authors of Pain, obviously, lured a heavy win over them. This is the only guys they haven't been able to beat.
And I think we're going to see that develop in the coming weeks, but I figured we would see some sort of appearance from the Authors of Pain, nothing from them. So this is sort of a reestablishment match for TM61.
Right.
To
And
show
good
that
for
still
them, they
mean
kind of
business.
need it. After losing to not a high-profile team, a brand new team. The House of Pain really haven't had a chance to fight anybody of value, but TM61 comes in.
Oh, they fought American Alpha, but
They did.
it was just a fight. It was not really a match.
Right. American Alpha didn't get to do what American Alpha does, and that is completely out-wrestle them. And TM61 really couldn't do what they were set to do, as work at a great tandem offense.
Well, they tried to do what they did very successfully in this match, which was the brawling style. Like the straight up, no nonsense, beat the crap out of you and knock you senseless that we saw them bring and was really impressive against such amazing opponents as the Authors of Pain and how big and scary as they are. They were still like, we're not afraid of you. We're going to beat the crap out of you regardless.
They hit them as hard as they possibly could.
And for smaller guys like this, it seemed even harder.
Right. It's good to really work offense against bigger guys.
Yeah.
Because when you get to the littler guys and you hit them as hard as you hit the big guys, those little guys are going to really, really not be happy about it.
Especially the high and low that they hit.
Yeah.
That looked a lot
And
more.
the switch lariat?
Yes.
Brutal.
Gross.
That's rough. That's why I like training with guys who are heavier. Because when you get to the bigger guys, now you know how to move them. Now you know how to heavy. And the little guys, you can throw them around even more. It's worse if you're small after wrestling a guy who's used to wrestling giants. You get all the runoff.
I've seen you in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. When you do fight the bigger guys, you seem to have a little bit more of a control because you try to practice with it. So you're saying that the cruiserweights were the wrong way to go for TM61?
No, I'm saying that they were cruiserweights, and because they were cruiserweights, they got tossed around a little bit. They got kind of manhandled, except for Tony Nese, who did a good job of manhandling Shane Thorne for a good chunk of that. The stalled vertical suplex that sort of came up and down and showed the power of Tony Nese. He's got power, and then he's got the precision to actually follow it up with a flying strike of some sort. He can hit you high and low. He's got power and precision that's very good.
I like these guys a lot. Nese was quite the standard in the CWC, but I hope we see more from Daivari moving forward in NXT. And
he deserves it.
I think
Honestly,
he's so too.
We didn't get to see much from him, and that's unfortunate. A guy who's been on this stage, having sort of left his audience wanting more twice. That's hard. It's a hard place to be.
I agree with that. In the back, Tom Phillips interviewed Asuka about back to Brooklyn, her match with Bayley. Asuka said that Bayley fought hard, but she fought harder. And when asked about all of the women who have moved on to the main roster shows, Raw and SmackDown, Asuka stated that she cleared out the whole women's division. They don't have to face her anymore, and that no one is ready for Asuka.
Best part of a statement like that is no one's around to contradict you.
Exactly.
They've all already left.
Yeah.
So left you going, look what I did. There was a promo I saw that our friend Wrestling Fred was a part of.
Yeah.
The Brock's promo challenge. There's a guy named Prickly Pear.
I saw
and
Prickly
at
Pear.
one point he points to the vast wilderness behind him and says, "You see all this? The miles and miles of vast absolute wilderness? I made that." And who's gonna argue? There's nobody there.
I like how we could bring Wrestling Fred into a legitimate discussion.
Hey, he's a good friend of you and mine.
No, he's a very good friend of ours. And if you're not watching the promo challenge that
Rock the promo
on the Rock's channel, please go. Please support our friend Wrestling Fred. He has the backing of both Vicky Guerrero
I think he's
and
fighting.
Christian and former World Heavyweight Champion Christian.
Really? I mean, did he fight Prickly Pear already?
Yeah.
Oh, did he win?
You're gonna have to go.
No, I
find
don't
out.
even know. I didn't hear. Oh,
Gonna have to go and find out.
dang it.
Also in the back, we have Dasha with Steve Cutler talking about what Shin has sacrificed. He's just been wrestling this whole time, but Steve this promo was interesting.
You can't even.
Well, no, this promo was interesting because I thought it was going to a certain direction and it didn't. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it felt a little too cookie cutter for me. You know, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, you're gonna respect me. Like
I don't care if you
everybody
like
says
me,
that.
love me, hate me, kiss me.
Kill me, thrill me. I love
Yeah.
you too.
It's like wrestling is a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
It's an absolute sacrifice. And Steve Cutler attempting, at least what it sounded like, attempting to say that his sacrifice as a performance center is somehow greater than Shinsuke Nakamura's worldwide sacrifice is absolutely
Leaving his home, leaving his
unimaginable.
family.
Seriously.
Really bizarre. And I thought he was going to the military sacrifice.
Well,
To him being in the
You
armed forces.
can't argue with that.
But that's why I thought such an irreputable fact he would have just gone full force with it.
But he didn't.
But he
get
didn't.
there.
No, he wasn't quite there, and he was very.
Why did you not go there, Steve Cutler?
I guess we'll find out.
Why?
We'll find out in the coming weeks
I
because
like his facial hair, though. Something different. Beards are over. Everybody's got a dang beard.
I like the cut of his chops.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was an alright promo. I've been a fan of Steve Cutler since he was straight-laced and just losing everybody. So now that he's starting to show up with a little bit more gumption, a little bit more of a stick in his craw, I'm really hoping that he can start pulling some stuff together.
It just needs to manifest. What is that stick? Why are you mad? Like, explain it. Like, don't just simply be, well, I'm mad and I got a target on my back. Why?
Yeah.
Be specific.
Ask
Don't
the important
just-
questions.
Right. Like, I sort of, I don't know. He's mad. Okay. Why?
He's sacrificed plenty of time in the weight room, presumably
Sure.
during the combine that the
Sure.
NXT Performance Center is running right
Boy,
now.
they work
he
hard.
should be using some more time in the promo class that they have down there.
Maybe.
And I mean it like specifically. You have that time. use it. Like, and any sort of help that you can get for something like that, take advantage of it while you have it, because there have been many competitors in NXT that we have been fans of that sometimes, and I'm not saying this about Steve Cutler, but sometimes their number comes up a little bit too early in their career. You never know when your time in NXT is done. Take advantage of every opportunity that you can, and let's see some more Steve Cutler.
When you're on television, you're in front of a camera, and all you have is a microphone. You don't have any of your other tools to work with, because there's two different sets of tools you need. You need certain tools when you're on the microphone. You need certain tools when you're in the ring. And some people develop the in-ring tools really well, but they don't necessarily have the microphone tools. And he needs to develop those tools so that when he is in that situation, there isn't a shadow of a doubt that he is what he says he is, so he has to know what he is, so he can say what he is, so he can be about it, and we can feel it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's excited to see more from Steve Cutler and this new version of Steve Cutler in the future.
Hope to see him. I mean, he's been pushed to the forefront. Hopefully, he can actually maintain some of the momentum.
Especially right now, while we're sort of in between the Cruiserweight Classic and all of the guys coming in from that, and the next crop of talent that is going to be coming into NXT.
Right.
Now is the perfect time to show off why you're there.
Exactly.
And we're excited to see more from him. Next match of the night, Leia Vaughn against Ember Moon in her Full Sail debut. Leia Vaughn tried to stand stalwart against a woman with all of the momentum in the NXT women's division, but couldn't. It was almost, you might call it a total eclipse of the heart. And are you gonna kiss me? And Ember Moon gets the win. What did you think about this match? What did you think about Leia Vaughn?
Leia Vaughn, I sort of liked her. She seemed, at least in tone, to be very much opposed to Ember Moon. You have sort of the darkness and the mystery versus what seems to be sort of light and arguably happy. She's held her own. She held her own against Ember Moon, at least for a time. And I think she actually looked pretty good for it.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm excited whether Leia Vaughn is just used as enhancement talent or not. I think she could have a future in NXT.
Yeah, she's got something.
And
There's
if,
something there.
And if anybody knows more about Leia Vaughn, please let us know in chat. We are
we didn't
in
do
the
the
live
due
chat.
diligence. We didn't do that.
No, we didn't have enough time.
We're busy.
We were too busy arranging our new segment, which we're not doing yet. Sorry, I keep freaking out.
Don't even say
I
it.
need to stop that. But I'm trying to tease it to keep people till the end of the show.
Well, they're gonna.
I mean, there are also people who came late who may not know that we have a new segment debuting later in the show. Much later in the show.
Later?
Later in the show.
Much later.
How soon do you think we'll see Ember Moon in the title picture, or are we gonna get enhancement matches for a little while?
We're gonna have to get enhancement matches for a little while. Like unless there's some sort of confrontation that occurs in the near future, it's just gonna be enhancement.
We had the proverbial passing of the torch at Back to Brooklyn when she talked to Bayley in the back,
right?
Saying that I came here to be like you. So there's not. I mean, we've got Daria, we've got Mandy Rose, Peyton Royce, who have all not fought Ember Moon yet, but I think those will wait until Ember Moon goes through a couple more enhancement talent.
We need some sort of bracket system or something that tells us who's above who, because we have a lot of new ladies who are just sort of littering the landscape, but we don't know necessarily the pecking order, who's above whom. So we need to have something that breaks it down for us so we can understand truly who is the number one contender, because we don't have it. Ember Moon's way too new. Yes, she's racked up a couple of victories, but quite frankly, she's way too new to be trying to beat anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's the number one contender. I don't know who's closer to being number one contender.
I would say the closest person would be Liv Morgan. Was probably the closest person.
Probably.
Yeah, who has the most wins, most momentum, maybe Billie Kay right behind her. Because again, we haven't seen Peyton Royce on TV in quite some time. And she is, aside from Asuka, the sort of been on TV the longest.
Yeah, and Billie had some wins recently.
Exactly, yeah.
So
she
It's
reemerged.
really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell who's on top. We need a pecking order.
I agree.
We need a ranking system or something telling us who exactly is the closest to the champion Asuka. Because she's really comfortable. You see it in that promo. She's just as comfortable as a champion could be. She is the champion. She knows that. There is no one who can really face her at her level. And so somebody is going to have to come up, work really hard to get to Asuka, and then maybe we might have a match. Hopefully it's not a one-sided slaughter.
So do you think maybe even next TakeOver we don't have a women's championship match, we just have a number 1 contendership match?
Yeah. I'd say that's,
I could see that.
Kind of the way to go.
Don't
maybe
rush
Asuka
it.
gets a couple of warm-up matches.
Maybe.
Like in boxing, you need a good sparring session every once in a while for people to see, to understand why the champ is the champ. Kind of like tonight with Nakamura.
Yeah.
Kind of throw him a tomato can.
Okay. We'll find out more about that in the recent weeks, and we'll be talking a little bit more about Ember Moon at the end of the show. In the back, No Way Jose being asked about how Bobby Roode openly disrespected him on TV last week, and he said Bobby Roode is going to regret messing with No Way Jose. How long do you think we're going to push Bobby Roode and No Way Jose?
Tough to say. I mean, we really just finished Aries and No Way Jose. Now we're on to Bobby and No Way Jose, while Aries is going on with Cien Almas. We've switched opponents for all 4 of these guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it's going to last. It's hard to say. What Bill and I had said last week is we want to see some sort of tag team situation.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So that's really what we are hoping for. But as far as Mike's skills, No Way Jose's got it. He's
great.
Commands the space, knows exactly what he wants to say, says it well. You understand, you get what he's about, you like him. You just like him.
Yeah, he's very affable. Even with the white after Labor Day joke.
Good.
That was good.
You know how hard it is to plan something like that?
What are you talking about? This was live.
Yeah, sure.
That's good coffee. Also in the back, Tommaso Ciampa is with a trainer getting looked at his ribs, and Johnny Gargano.
No shirt.
No shirt.
Because you need...
Beautiful.
You gotta take off your shirt if you want to look at ribs.
Piercing blue eyes. I'm sorry. Ribs. The piercing blue ribs. It's a bad injury. Johnny Gargano informs him that Mr. Regal gave them a match at the Cruiserweight Classic Live special, which is going to be next week. It's going to be a 2-hour special, and they're going to have a chance to show off their tag team skills, presumably against 2 other competitors from the Cruiserweight Classic. And Ciampa is chomping at the bit for their return match against the Revival, and Johnny's like, 1 step at a time. Let's get with this, and then we'll go after the Revival.
You can't simply go, I want the Revival again. Why do you deserve the Revival?
I agree.
You got beat. That's just, I mean, whatever happened.
They go back to the end of the line.
Right. Yeah. You have to start over. You can't just go, I want a match. Though you can, and I'm sure William Regal will go, well, you already had one, and guess what? You lost.
That's kind of what's happening right now on SmackDown with Miz and Dolph Ziggler and the Intercontinental Championship.
Right. There's got to be a pecking order. You can't simply have the same match over and over again. It doesn't make any sense. After so many opportunities, you don't get another one.
Yeah.
You've got to go all over again.
I mean, remember there was a year and a half, 2 years ago, the match where Tyson Kidd lost his opportunity to face Neville for the NXT Championship because
he will never face him again.
He will never face Neville for the NXT Championship again.
Right.
That's all that meant. Neville's on the main roster right now.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how we'll see this go. Maybe they'll put a stipulation on it for tag team championships. Who knows? Maybe not.
Not yet. No,
do you know anybody?
So.
Do you know anybody who you want them to face?
It's really hard to tell. They just keep throwing guys together.
Like, would you want to see Nice and Daivari again?
No. God, no.
Try again.
Yeah, well, different guys.
Yeah.
Give 2 different guys the opportunity to show why they're on WWE television.
Sure.
You can't just give the same guys opportunity over and over again, especially when you have an enormous backlog of guys who are fresh off of losses in the CWC. So they're hungry to show what they have. Give them the opportunity. Give the losers the opportunity.
I can agree with that. Next match of the night, Cien Almas versus Austin Aries. And this, while it came together rather fast, this was a match about respect. And this match kind of evolved for you. As we were watching it, you were like, what's happening? What's going on? And then it really sort of started slowly coming together. You got invested. I got invested. How did you think Andrade did in this? Because I think Aries had his number the entire time.
It really seemed like Aries was a complete step ahead. There was maybe a moment where he had to take a step back and go, I don't want to engage right now. That's when he got out of the ring. But that is what Aries is. He is always walking with measured steps. Even when it looks like he's out of his element, maybe a fish out of water, he's always measuring how to get back. He's never so lost as he appears to be, which is one of the most dangerous things about an opponent, is when you misread them. You think, I've got this guy. See, he's floundering. Look at him. He's left the ring. He looks like he's completely floundering. But, in fact, he knows exactly what his next step is. He's just trying to get himself together enough to reel you into a trap he's laid without you knowing.
And Aries dodged the knees twice. Like, he still has not hit them, because as of right now, we haven't seen anybody get up from the double knees in the corner. But he was smart enough to scout him twice, even after immense pain and striking moves and grapple moves.
It's because CN has been taking the time to set it up extensively.
Yeah, for the crowd.
And that's a mistake. It's a mistake I myself have made multiple times. You get into that mode of trying to get the audience to come with you. Come with me. We're going to kill this guy. Come on. We're going to do it. And then in taking the extra time necessary to sort of get the crowd behind you, to get their energy to push into your opponent, they've had time to recover, and now they're plotting against you in a very quick way that you can't see coming. The first time with that monstrous drop kick to the corner.
And quick.
So quick.
It's like he
a
shot
cat.
up. It's like he, in one fell swoop, got up, just jumped from the ground into the other corner.
It kind of looked that way.
Yeah, just whip, and just straight right to the face.
He's quick. The second time, he barely got out, but he still got out. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And he ended up hitting with a powerbomb into the last chancery. Great transition for the win.
Off of something that CN had hit earlier in the night, that beautiful springboard Rana. He caught him that time, just planted him down, waited for him to kick out, pushed him last chancery.
All it took was one. All it took was one time getting hit with that head scissor. And that was it. That's all Austin Aries needed to scout it.
That's all you really need. Once you see how somebody does something, you become aware of where they're coming from. He's like, okay, it's not about necessarily not letting him do the move. It's about being a step of him hitting it.
Yeah.
Just allowing him to get in a position where you know you have control. When he's seated on your shoulders, and then just driving him down.
Yeah, and you can really affect the momentum while you're expecting to go one way. You can completely change it. Like a competitor you're familiar with, Jeff Cobb, who uses momentum in an amazing fashion, like the backflip fall-away suplex that he does, where he just, or power slam that you think is a fall-away slam, but totally isn't. Yeah. He's amazing. Check out Jeff Cobb if you're not. If
a lot
you're
of
not
power.
A lot of power behind him.
An Olympian, former Olympian too, Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, he great competitor. The best with him, I think he was at the PWG this past weekend.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
He was at the first night. And we'll talk more about we actually will talk more about that later in the show. Then we got a teaser about Sanity. Again, they first showed at Back to Brooklyn. There are a couple of theories out there that it might be a new tag team, but as of right now, we don't know.
There are no clues.
No.
The video is really sort of chaotic. And in that chaos, it's hard to really decipher what means what, if anything means anything.
I will find out more from the hopefully pretty soon. Maybe do you think that this is too early for them to debut at the next TakeOver, which is Survivor Series?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or maybe do like Ember Moon and slowly show more and more and more and more.
It's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell when it's going to lower until the one time you see next week.
Yeah.
And then
or 2 weeks.
Okay, then it's the end is nigh, or the beginning is nigh.
And we also get word that Samoa Joe is going to be coming out and watching the main event, and he does a little bit more than that. He comes out on commentary for the main event, which is Steve Cutler versus Shinsuke Nakamura, a non-title bout. And this is a different Joe than we've had leading up to Brooklyn.
Very weird.
Very calm, very collected. Maybe not calm.
For a guy with a jaw injury, he sure did commentary pretty well.
I mean, they cleared him back pretty fast. It was a dislocation and then they relocated.
Yeah, do you know how much a dislocated anything hurts? Like, you've stretched things that aren't supposed to stretch.
It's been a couple weeks at this point. It's probably why he was talking very quietly, very smallly. So he wasn't actually moving too much of his jaw.
He was doing a lot of lip work.
Yeah, probably.
Not actually moving his jaw, just doing everything in the lips.
Yeah, see,
right here.
if anybody's listening on iTunes, they didn't know that you were doing anything specific.
They have no idea at all.
You look like a Robert Smigel bit on Conan where the mouth gets replaced and, you have to stay like...
Exactly, you gotta hold really still while the mouth moves so nothing else does.
What's really weird is that you're not moving your jaw at all and I still saw like a little of spit come out. It was disgusting.
It's a trick.
So,
I'm part lizard.
That I did know.
Yeah.
Steve Cutler versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Cutler got nothing. Except for his butt beaten up. How do you think he fared in this match?
Poorly. He had a moment where he was in control, but beyond that, he literally did nothing except allow Shinsuke Nakamura to get into his head and then just get into his being. Like,
so what do you think this did for Shinsuke? Anything?
Not much. Just show that, hey, I'm the champion and I can beat people up. I'm good at it. He plays a good head game.
Yeah.
He always has, and he will continue to do so. It just didn't come into play so much with Joe, but he really knows how to get under people's skin. It worked with Cutler perfectly. Lured him into numerous traps, and then just sort of shut him down.
He did the foot choke in the corner twice. And that was enough for him to stay down.
Right. I mean, it was... The audience wanted it. He felt he could do it again without it having any adverse consequences, and he was right.
Yeah. I was really hoping for more, as we talked about earlier with his promo, I was really hoping for more from Steve in this one. But hopefully he uses this as a way to bounce back.
Right.
And maybe against the... Wait, he fought Ty Dillinger last week.
Yeah, listen.
No. He fought somebody else last week. But he's
Dawkins?
No. Somebody unknown. If I remember correctly. It's been a week.
So much.
But to bounce back against the Oni Lorcans, against somebody from the CWC, and really show what he's about.
Well, Oni Lorcan's back in his roots.
He's going back to his roots.
He's an arborist, I guess.
Yeah.
Gave up his contract to go and prune trees, I guess.
Poor guy.
Hey, you do what you love. When you love getting back to your roots, you're not going to wrestle so much.
I love the roots. Why don't we get to some news and gossip?
AfterBuzz TV News.
Not as much gossip as there is. There's a little bit of gossip. NXT made 3 signings this past week: Alvin Abbott's, Max Wessel, and Victoria Gonzalez Abbott's from Georgia. He has a 1-1 MMA record, quite the physical specimen. Max Wessel is an amateur wrestler who was discovered by Gerald Briscoe and personally handpicked by him. We need this guy. And Victoria Gonzalez is a second-generation wrestler and is known for her college basketball career. Excited to see what they bring to the company. They're going to be reporting later this year.
Gonzalez. I don't know who her father is.
Yeah, they didn't say in the article that I read.
I'm going to look her up then.
Also, speaking of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's Battle of LA that happened this past weekend, big event. A lot of folks that from the CWC were there. Notably, NXT General Manager William Regal was down at PWG, and he saw talent like there's a great picture of him and Marty Scurll.
Yes.
Very good, very cool and interesting. Like, what's happening there? But other important talent that was there: Ricochet, Tommy End, Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, Dalton Castle, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks.
There are 3 names that may or may not be going to the WWE.
Those are some of the rumors right now. But how does having an expert, a master of the craft like Regal, affect your performance on a show like that, and how much does he coach people? Because there's rumors that he was giving people tips throughout the weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. He's a coach, and what coaches do sort of continuously is give advice. They see talent they like, they want to make that talent better, smarter, faster, stronger. So they constantly are trying to coach them. And to put it in perspective, people are saying the last time this happened, that William Regal was actually at a PWG event, Kevin Owens, was signed. So it really shows that something is happening. It's really hard to say what at this current stage, but definitely something is going on.
And how does that speak to you as somebody on the West Coast? A lot of folks may not necessarily look to the West Coast as a wrestling hub, and yet we have these events from PWG where people all over the world. Jushin Thunder Liger was there.
It's a big deal.
Like, how does that affect you as a California wrestler to have William Regal attend this event and to have such a spotlight put on the West Coast style?
Shows that this is really the place to be, honestly, as far away as it is from the rest of the country in terms of wrestling. This is probably one of the best spots, and a lot of people don't quite understand that, but this is where it's at.
And I would also say another company that's slowly making its way to the West Coast, Ring of Honor, is doing shows in Las Vegas. So they know the appeal of the West Coast, and more people, as we're going to talk about momentarily, are coming to the West Coast because they understand how important the West Coast scene is. So who do you want to see from the PWG show? Who do you think Regal was talking about? Who do you want to see on NXT in the coming months? Next story. The Cruiserweight Classic is going to be fanning out, and we're going to be seeing a lot of that talent moving on to Raw into the Cruiserweight division, and we're also going to be seeing that talent continue to appear on NXT. So, I want to put the question to you: do you think the Cruiserweight Championship will be a cross-promotional championship for NXT and Raw?
It's tough to say. I sort of want to say no, because it gives the brand that has it more power. You have to watch that brand to watch the cruiserweights. And right now, I'd say the cruiserweights have a lot of drawing power. People want to see the cruiserweights. So the company, or rather the brand that gets that particular division is going to be a powerful one.
I wonder if that devalues the talent and the people in that division by going, oh, well, they're on Raw, why do they need to come down to NXT? And then people at NXT going, well, I just saw them wrestle for the championship. Why don't they have the championship here? It's an interesting situation to be in, especially since it sounds like the Cruiserweight Classic and the Cruiserweight competitors are going to be going on tour with NXT, as well as very soon Raw as well for live shows.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that still need to be sorted out as far as exactly how the Cruiserweights are going to be used. I mean, this is sort of the first time in a long time that WWE has had cruiserweights as a part of their product and actually branded cruiserweights.
The last time was on SmackDown. Hornswoggle was the last cruiserweight champion.
That's right. So it's been a while, and now they're just going to have to figure out what is the most viable option in how to use this particular brand of superstar. And that's going to come with time. I mean, right now they're going to use them where they feel they will be most effective, but over time that may lessen. They may just decide to put them in either one house or another.
Well, I figure for NXT it helps the homegrown talent. Here you have these well-experienced, world-traveled athletes in your house, and you're like, no, we're gonna keep them over here. No. Help them by wrestling the Steve Cutlers, any of the people, the Angelo Dawkins, anybody who is still up and coming. You get a chance to work with these amazing talents. Why not?
Right.
Why not? Next, speaking of Los Angeles and the California West Coast wrestling scene, it was just announced that California is going to be having a miniature tour from NXT from October 26th to October 30th. We're going to have live shows in Fresno, Sacramento, San Jose, Bakersfield, Los Angeles. How many of those shows we will be attending, we're still trying to figure out. For sure, Los Angeles, but it's hard to be with this studio and trying to make as much as we can with this studio and have me leave, especially after I just went on my honeymoon. Again, thank you to everybody who sent me well wishes, and thank you, Bill, for starting that train. But California, hopefully it won't be another 2-3 years before they come back.
Well, we'll have to see how it does. The better it does, the more likely they are to come back. So if people buy tickets, guess what? They're going to have an automatic incentive to come back out this way.
Yeah. So this kind of leads into the next story. It was announced that NXT TakeOver Toronto is going to be happening on Survivor Series weekend, which is going to be Saturday, November 19th. They canceled the Toronto house shows essentially to make room for this takeover event. So we saw last year started. We have a takeover at WrestleMania. We have a takeover at SummerSlam. Cool. This year is starting. We're having a takeover at WrestleMania. We're having a takeover at SummerSlam. We're having a takeover at Survivor Series. That's 3 of the big 4. The other one of the big 4, the Royal Rumble, which is going to be taking place in Los Angeles. What do you think of the chances of takeover LA?
If this does well, if this tour does well, there will undoubtedly be a takeover Los Angeles. It's in our hands as fans.
No, just the 2 of us. It's in our hands.
All right, just us 2.
We'll figure it out. We'll see.
The way big companies work, it's all about dollars and cents. The more money you can make doing something, the more likely it's going to happen. So if people buy into NXT on this side of the...
Some gossip this week, but we got through it. Let us know who you think is next in line, but let's get started with Hobo, your choice. Who do you think is next in line?
Well, for me, just watching the show overall, the particular individual who looked the strongest amongst everyone had to be Austin Aries. He simply proves every time he comes out that he is what he claims to be, the greatest man who ever lived.
Yeah.
Because of not necessarily wins and losses, but since he has, let's say, found himself again, he has shown that he's in absolute control. And that's something I was talking about with this match that he was in tonight with Cien Almas. He was an absolute specimen of control and knowing how to move in the ring, knowing as a veteran, only a veteran would truly understand how to create circumstances and capitalize on them in a way that are going to give you a win.
I was very close to picking Austin Aries for who I thought is next in line. Well, I do agree with you. He has had a huge career leading up to his NXT time, and it's showing in all of his outings. His debut against Baron Corbin, his match against Noe Jose at TakeOver Brooklyn, and his future seems boundless just in NXT. And then once he makes it to the main roster, the amount of things that he'll be able to do will be endless. I totally agree with you, but I'm going to have to go with the division that has a huge future. We talked about it already. I'm going to go with Ember Moon, who I think is next in line. I totally feel like she has an open field to run straight at Asuka. It's going to take her a while to get there, but she's had 2 very strong showings, and while this last match may have been an enhancement, I think once she starts getting to the Darius, to the Mandy Roses, if they have anybody come back down to work against her from SmackDown or Raw, I think she is going to be the next face of the NXT Women's Division, and we're only seeing the beginning of it. Her style and her finish and her entire presentation is something that the WWE Universe and the NXT Universe hasn't seen whatsoever. So I feel like she is next in line to really stun. And especially with the blessing of Bayley that she had at TakeOver Brooklyn 2, I think that she is next in line.
I sort of see where you're coming from. I do, but I think it's way too early to really say that she's going to be the next one to really face Asuka. She's only ever fought twice in NXT. First in her debut against Billie Kay, who was a hot commodity up until that loss, and we haven't seen since. But tonight she beat Leah Vaughn, and that was it. She's only had 2 wins, two entire matches.
That's more wins
than her credit.
That's more wins than most people in the women's division right now have. I'm saying because it's such a wide scope, is that she is showing the most promise to be next in line. And that's why it's going to make it even more amazing how she beats the Mandy Rose. She beats Daria. She will. If
she were to beat an ex-women's champion, an NXT women's champion, I'd be 100% with you. But she has not beaten anybody with that caliber just yet to even face somebody like Asuka, who is currently undefeated. Can she possibly stand up to an undefeated Asuka?
That's what we're going to find out later this year, possibly at TakeOver Toronto. Who do you think is next in line? Again, let us know with hashtag NXTINLINE. Let us know who you think is next in line, and we'll talk about it next week on the show. Also, let us know how you feel on our iTunes site. Leave us a review, leave us a rating, 5 stars, because remember, the other stars don't work, so you have to leave us a 5-star there anyway. Might as well do it. That'll do it for our show this week. Hobo, we got a new look. We got a new segment. Unfortunately, Bill again is not with us tonight, but he will be back next week. We got some fun guests, hopefully coming up pretty soon, and a lot of fun stuff happening in the wrestling world for AfterBuzz TV. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah?
I think we're all doing all right over here at NXT on the NXT team. I think we're feeling pretty fresh.
Pretty fresh. We got our brand coming in a couple of months. We're going to be at the event regardless, but we're trying to get the +1 of getting some interviews from your favorite NXT talent. So also let us know on the hashtag NXTeam who you would like us to interview. We have nothing set in stone yet, but might as well start planning now.
Absolutely.
Who knows what'll happen? Hobo, put yourself over. Where can the folks find you? You got a lot of stuff to push.
I do. You can find me on the Twitter at TrueHobo. This Sunday on September 11th is Championship Wrestling from Hollywood's Milestone. That's our 6-year anniversary show. 6 whole years on television. That's a dog age, to be quite frank. A lot of people, a lot of different companies have not been able to last that long. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood has, because it's got simply the best. It's got Jervis and myself, the Friendship Express, and the United Wrestling Network Tag Team Champions taking on the Classic Connection.
Oh, that could be dangerous for you guys. You don't have a good history with them.
It's tough. They won our last match together, but it was by disqualification.
Okay.
It was Jervis kinda went a little too far. We still have the top rope rule in our company, and he chucked both of our competitors right over that rope.
Do you fear you might be a little bit too much of a bad influence on Jervis at this point?
Bad? No.
Okay.
I'm teaching him how to be tough, and it's working almost too well.
Okay.
It's how you apply it. You can be tough, but don't be tough or break rules in front of a referee in a way that's gonna get you caught and disqualified.
A little bit more of a lesson to you.
Yep, and then September the 17th, we've got Championship Wrestling from Arizona's debut show at the Desert Diamond Casino in Tucson, Arizona. Should be a big one. Jervis and myself will be there, most definitely. Who we're wrestling, who's to say? But you in Arizona could be watching us live.
There is nothing like a live Championship Wrestling show.
No.
So do yourself a favor. Go head down. It's a lovely venue, too.
Yeah.
It's a real nice place. Not been there personally. Seen a lot of pictures. That's the benefit of the internet.
Absolutely.
But yes, and then did you give your Twitter yet?
Yeah, True Hobo, yeah.
At True Hobo?
At True Hobo.
Did you also tell them that they can get True Hobo shirts as well as Smart shirts, Bill shirts, NX Team shirts, Gimmick shirts at nxteam.spreadshirt.com?
nxteam.spreadshirt.com.
nxteam.spreadshirt.com.
I don't think I mentioned nxteam.spreadshirt.com.
Well, I'll make sure to do that. In case you want to help support the show, why don't you go to nxteam.spreadshirt.com. Our t-shirts are $20. That is a lot less than some other folks may be selling their t-shirts for. We got some fun designs. There's some stuff that isn't necessarily directly related to us and our personas, but we have some pretty good NX Team designs. I like our TakeOver ones. The TakeOver Dallas one is kind of my favorite right now. Pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet.
There's a great one of Hobo style, which is a response to Strong style.
Yep. Boxcar style.
Boxcar style. Very good. Check that out. We've got cups, we've got pins, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. Help support us, help support the show. Go to nxteam.spreadshirt.com. Also, make sure to watch all of our other wrestling programs right here on AfterBuzz TV. We have Raw on Monday, SmackDown on Tuesday, us on Wednesday, and Lucha Underground returning tomorrow. So make sure to tune in with us live. A whole bunch is coming down before. Oh, also, X-Pac12360. If you're a fan of Sean Waltman, who has been on this show, he just started a new podcast with Christy Olsen and Jimbo Slice, Theejimbo Slice, just because that's how he does it. Make sure to check it out. Last week he interviewed Scott Hall, and this week he interviewed Billy Gunn. They're uploading it now, so I think I'm okay to say it. It was a very fun show. I was in the back for it. It's pretty dang entertaining. Make sure to check it out. X-Pac12360. We got a whole bunch of plans coming here for the wrestling section of AfterBuzz TV, so make sure you stay tuned at AfterBuzz TV. Make sure to follow me at Mark Donica. And for all of us here at AfterBuzz TV, for I was going to say for Bill Handstock, that's not you, but for Bill Handstock and the Hobo, thank you for joining us on AfterBuzz TV. This has been the NXT After Show. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
We're gonna buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.